Konnichiwa, and welcome to the Samurai Way, the podcast where we dive into the wisdom of the samurai, the art of Japanese living, and the philosophies that help us live with purpose and perseverance. I'm Lori Sagawa, and whether you're here to explore Bushido, the Code of the Samurai, uncover the meaning of Ikigai, or just looking for a little extra Ganbaru, never give up spirit in your daily life, you're in the right place. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's walk this path together. Are you ready? Let's begin. Konnichiwa, minasan. Hello, I'm Lori Sagawa. I'm so glad you're here with me today on the Samurai Way podcast. I have been overwhelmed really with all of the response and the comments and the downloads we've gotten. We're so excited to be sharing Japanese principles of the Code of Bushido, Ikigai, and Ganbaru for people to learn about these principles, which are ancient, and then putting it into their lives today. So today I have a very special guest with me all around across the world. So interesting is technology. This wouldn't be happening 50 years ago. My guest today is Nibu Thomas, and he didn't begin his career knowing his purpose. He discovered it by paying attention. Starting on the factory floor, he learned discipline, humility, and respect for the process. Over time, he noticed that writing made sense of ideas, and expressing them brought him joy and a growing sense of mastery. At the intersection of what he enjoys, what he's good at, and what creates value for others, Nibu found his Ikigai. Today, he writes and speaks about purpose and something that we build through consistent action, not something we stumble upon by chance. With over 50,000 followers on LinkedIn, he's currently exploring another aspect to Ikigai, work that adds meaning to life. So please help me welcome Nibu Thomas on our 49th episode of the Samurai Way podcast. So welcome to the show, Nibu.
Thank you so much, Laurie. It's always a pleasure. I've listened to a few of your episodes, and there's a lot of learning in there. A pleasure again to be a part of this podcast. So I am from Bangalore, India, and I did ask you if you have had other guests from India, and you said you mentioned one other person. So not the first one from India, in spite of being so populated. So I started my career even before I completed my graduation. I started as an apprentice in Bosch, working with machines. I really loved that work because it had to do with metal. It included, touching, feeling, watching metal being shaved off, seeing fire. It was fascinating, and working with accuracies that you could not really see. All right, 1 micron or lesser than 1 micron, you can't really make out when you look at things, but it makes a big difference when you're assembling parts together. If it's a little off, temperature makes a lot of difference when it comes to metal, right? So that was really enjoyable work. But at some point of time, I realized that I need to do something with my mind as well. And that's a part that I mentioned about, paying attention to what people are saying, or paying attention to what is happening around you, right? I see a lot of people who haven't really discovered what their purpose in life is. So they are in the wrong job, not getting any satisfaction from what they do, just doing it like any other job, right? But I think that the world would be a better place if people find what they are really good at and what they love to do, right? That is the place for everybody to do. But unfortunately, people aren't paying attention. People aren't searching for what they can do really well. For example, there are people who ask me, how do I find stuff that I am really good at? And one simple way to do that is to listen to what people praise you for. That's how I found out that I am good at writing. People would want to read what I have written. People would praise me for that, right? So let's say you're a dancer, or you sing well, or it could be anything that you do. What is it that people praise you for? That's something that you have to have your antenna always on for, always alert for. And eventually you will get to know a few things that you're really good at. And then you also have to see how long can you do it, right? Because it may be something that you're good at, but what if it is something that you don't like doing, right? That is also there. That is also a career path that people take. They're really good at what they do, but they don't really like it. There is something other uh, that they're always looking for, right? Yeah, I was in Bosch, and in a few years, I decided, okay, I have to do something with my mind. But people were always looking for prior experience, and I didn't have any prior experience writing. Right, I used to do the tests well, but they always wanted prior experience. So what I did is I got into the call center. But that was what was the booming industry at that time, and I had selected AOL because I knew that they had a career path for me. There was a career path into writing. Again, you have to pay attention. When I was
Right.
looking for another job, I got multiple offers, but I paid attention to the organization that had a career path for me. So that is also important. I mean, you have to know
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do, why, and you have to also find an environment where you can grow.
Right.
So that is actually very critical.
Mm.
So at
That
AOL, yeah, sure.
that brings me to a point which you've talked about, and I'd really like you to bring that out. Ikigai often begins with paying attention,
Hmm.
not just passion, just paying attention, and that's how you found yours. Could you expound on that a bit?
Yes, so that was what I mentioned, right? So when people say that, or they ask, how do I find my purpose in life? Right? I tell them, you have to pay attention to what is happening around you. If you are
Mm-hmm.
not looking for it, you will not find it. If you're
That's right.
if you're happy with how things are going today, or you're indifferent, you're not going to find it. You have to
Mm-hmm.
search for it. Then only you will find it, right? So that's how I found my ikigai. I was paying attention. I was paying attention to what people said about my work. I was very good at my work at Bosch, but it had nothing to do with writing. It had, I was very efficient. I was able to create a lot of jigs and fixtures which are still in use today. Bringing down the time required to assemble certain fuel injection equipment. I was the operator selected to work on a jig boring machine, and I was running at 200% efficiency. There were certain tools. There were about 8 or 10 other machines there. There were certain tools that they were sharing, and I had made one for myself because I took time to prepare for my work.
Mm-hmm.
That is also very important. You just don't go into and start work just like everybody else. And that is something that I learned from certain Japanese concepts that were implemented at Bosch, right? For example, the 5S. uh, it, it, I don't remember the exact Japanese words, but it was basically sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. And these are some things that I use in my day to day life as well. For example, I wash my car myself, right? I do that because I remember what they said about the machines. When you're working with machines, you have to make sure that it is clean. And when you're cleaning it, you will find certain oil drops or certain issues that will maybe lead to a disaster if you did not notice it, right? So
It
when
comes
I
to paying attention,
Yes,
right?
that's correct. That's correct. And when I have cleaned my cars, I have found, okay, there are certain bulges in the tires which I would not have noticed if I had somebody else clean it for me. That's not their work, right? They just need to make sure that the car is clean. If there's a bulge on the tire or if there's an oil leak somewhere, they're not going to tell you about it, right? So
Right.
it's important that even these small things, you have to know what you need to do yourself, right? If it is going to impact your life, you're the one who's going to drive the car. uh, you better make sure that it is clean. um, then there were other Japanese concepts that I learned at Bosch that helped me even in my software role. See, for example, the Poka Yoke, which is a fantastic principle of mistake proofing or fool proofing. So the example that they gave me, it always remembers it always stays in my mind. It is about railway accidents. So initially they would have a warning when the road intersected with the track or the railway, right? But people would just ignore it and there would continue to be accidents. Then they would have the level crossing. So when the train is coming, they would close it, but still you would have people going through underneath it because they're in a hurry, and it would lead to accidents. Now then they came up with the overpass, right? There is no way, unless you wanted to commit suicide, there is no way that uh, these paths cross. So when we create a process and we have this in mind, we're looking at ensuring that certain things do not happen or cannot happen. So that was actually a very powerful thing that I have implemented at work as well. Uh,
So you're saying a lot of the process is so important. It's not just doing it. You have to pay attention. And another point you brought out was joy grows at the intersection of enjoyment and competence. You don't become competent by ignoring or not paying attention.
Correct. That's right. You have to be competent. That means you have to be aware of what is evolving around you, right? That is, and become good at it. That is competence, right? And of course, when you enjoy it, that is when everything comes together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was talking about Poka Yoke. Uh, there, every time I come across a process, like for example, the support team used to tell me, okay, or they never used to tell me, but I used to go actually listen to their calls and find out certain patterns in the support cases. For them, a customer calls in, there is an issue, they solve it, move on to the next case. But nobody is looking at, can I make over an overhead bridge so that this problem does not happen in the first place, right? If people don't think like that, they just go on solving case after case after case. But somebody has to stop and think, okay, could this have been prevented, right? If I am driving a car and I have a puncture, uh, could that puncture have been prevented, right? If maybe while I was washing it, I saw a nail stuck inside, and while I was driving, it went inside, and then it got punctured, right? So could it have been prevented? How could this not have happened in the first place? People need to be very deliberate and thinking about these things, and paying attention to the stuff that really matters, not just doing work day in and day out the way that it is being assigned to you.
Your another point you brought out was Ikigai is shaped through action, not contemplation. You can think about, what do they call it? People sometimes just overstudy, overthink
Mhm.
without paying attention
Yes.
and
So
not taking action.
exactly. So it is all about action. So I wanted to do something with my mind, right? It was there for a long time. But unless I went out and looked out at jobs that gave me this opportunity, I would just be sitting there at Bosch and thinking about this as a career path. Right? I had to take a risk. I didn't have a job in my hand, but and remember, I was not even a graduate at that time, right? And graduation is a big thing in India. The first question that they ask you for any intellectual work is, are you a graduate, right? But just with skills, is it possible for you to get into a particular kind of a profession that you think you will enjoy? But that takes action. What do you do,
Action.
right? I was talking to somebody recently, and they are hiring drone pilots, right? It's a 5 day course, and it pays reasonably well. Um, so he was saying there is a certification that is to be done to become a drone pilot, and it doesn't cost too much, and they have lots of vacancies, but there are very few people who actually go and do that certification. That's all it takes, right? That's the action.
Hmm.
If this is something that you want to do and you enjoy doing it, what is the action that you have done to show me that you're inclined towards it?
Right.
When I was hiring writers, everybody wants a job, right? So they will say, okay, I can write. But you have to show me what is the action you took. Did you do a certification? Did you do some learning? What is it that you did? I'm looking for an action, not just your words to say that you're a good writer.
We did talk about, can you share about about thinking in English?
So when we are hiring people in India, one of the things that I look at is what language do they think in, right? Because if they are thinking in another language, or if they're thinking in one of the Indian languages, uh, their English does not come out correctly. Even though there is a gap between when they're writing, right? They have the time to think, to contemplate, to edit, to correct. It's not like when you speak, you just pick out whatever is coming from the brain. It's just out the moment it is there in your brain. But writing is a little different. But in spite of that, there is there are these issues, right? Fortunately for me, I grew up in a household and in a school where English was the primary language. So for me, it was natural to think in English and to communicate in English. I actually find it difficult to speak in other languages in India because I'm thinking in English. I am doing the translation into the other languages. So it's the other way around for me. Yeah, so when we hire in India, this is something that I look for. What is the language that the person thinks in? And when we hire, we hire a thought process, correct? So that is something that I try and evaluate when I talk to candidates. What are they thinking? Like what can I predict about their behavior while I'm still speaking to them? What is it that they are revealing, and what is it that I can find out that they are not revealing?
That's a delicate balance, isn't it?
It is, and it's very challenging because people can be very deceptive, right? It's not just Indian people, but any people. They would, if to in order to get a particular objective, uh, they are prepared to do anything.
We have covered a lot of territory today, and
We
it's
did.
really, really interesting, Nibu. And you talked about how Ikigai begins with paying attention and how that's so important in any area of your life, not just passion. Because if you don't pay attention to the details, they say that, what is it? There's a saying about something about the details or what can really make or break you. And joy grows at the intersection of enjoyment and competence. And Ikigai is shaped through action, not contemplation. And also, you shared about your time with Bosch and how that all of the things about paying attention and that type of thing, how that's come into play for you. And finishing out with speaking in English and thinking in English, because how that's very important to you and how you hire people. So is there anything else that you would like to leave with our audience today, Nibu?
Yeah, that's the last part about finding meaning, right? So I worked for 30, 30 plus years in the corporate, in different organizations. And now I'm thinking about meaning. I'm working with an NGO that does a really good work with underprivileged children, right? So this founder, what he says is that he believes that excellence can be created anywhere, right? It's just that opportunity that needs to be given to the right people. So what he does is he picks up these children, children of maids, drivers, who are good with critical thinking, who are bright, who can pick up things. He has his own way of evaluating this in advance. And he puts them through a residential 1 year program where he teaches them how to code and basically how to live, right? And he's been doing this for the last 4 years. And he has placed over 80 of these children in multinational companies earning good white collar salaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he's made a big difference in these children's lives, because they could not even in their wildest dreams imagine working for these organizations. Some of these children are the first in their village to get work like this, right? So I think there is these are I mean, this is the meaning, I think, that I was talking about, right? What is the impact that your work could do? And I'm working with them
Yes.
with their social media and helping them tell their stories better,
Mm-hmm.
so that it reaches the right audience. They're able to get more acceptability. There are more people who want to hire their kids, so that who actually give them that opportunity to earn. Uh, right now, they look at the cream of society, who had privilege on their behalf, who have had a very good education, no lack of resources, and they continue to thrive. But if we were to give these other people just the opportunity, can they do just as well, right? Can you teach certain values to these people? Because these are children who come from broken homes. There is no father, or the father is a drunk, or they get beaten up, they get abused. Uh, in such situations, they don't even think about values. They just think about what's in it for me, right?
Survival.
Even even the children who come out of the system, get employed, uh, they also continue to ask this question, what's in it for me, right? But how do you take those children and change the question to, how can I help? How can I help? And that is the meaning that I'm trying to um, you know spread, I would say. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, it's been enjoyable speaking with you, Nibu, and I've learned a lot from you, and being inspired by your actions and your dedication. I think it's very admirable. It's been wonderful, and if you have enjoyed this podcast today, please like, subscribe, and share it with others, because we are there's I would say traction. We're gaining traction. And I believe that people are looking for ways to improve their lives, ways to make it better. And I believe that the samurai way is a good way for people to learn about bettering their lives and become a better citizen in this world. And like Nibu was saying, if people found their Ikigai and they found out what made them happy and what made them excited, then I think our world would be a better place. And as a transition counselor in the women's prison in the state of Washington, I shared that with women. I said, can you imagine what our world would look like if we all adhered to the Code of Bushido? There wouldn't be theft. We wouldn't have to lock our doors. We would feel safe at night, and people would be kind to each other. And that's what I believe our world needs. Is we need more kindness, more love, because love conquers all, and it just covers so much. So thank you so much for joining us, and please like, subscribe, and share with others about this podcast. And together we can share this wonderful message of the ancient principles of the samurai and Japan with a world that desperately needs it. It's not the only way, but it's the way that I have found has been helpful for me, and it's been helpful for other people. So I will say goodbye for now until next week. And please be sure to watch some of the other episodes. We have some great episodes, and learn and share with others. So I'll say mata ne, goodbye for now. And thank you so much, Nibu. It's been a pleasure to have you on our podcast. And that's a wrap for today's episode, The Samurai Way. I hope you found a little inspiration, a new perspective, or just something to reflect upon as you go about your day. Now remember, the samurai spirit isn't just about history. It's about how you show up, face challenges, and live with purpose. Whether it's Ikigai guiding your path or a little extra Ganbaru pushing you forward, keep walking strong. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share, or leave a review. It really helps. And if you've got some thoughts, questions, or you just want to connect, just contact me. So until next time, stay focused, stay determined, and keep living with purpose. Mata ne.